Okay, let's get started as we go into the afternoon session. We've had some great interaction and great discussions in the morning. I hope you've all found them very useful. Now, as we go into the afternoon, we're going to have some interesting discussions around integration, and especially around intelligent integration. We'll be talking about commerce and e-commerce, how we balance service, price, margin, and growth. That will be an interesting one that I'll be quite keen to hear about. After the break, we'll be talking about the halal supply chain with Dr. Marco, and then we'll be finishing it off with sustainability. And I know quite a few people had some questions about sustainability, so we'll have a panel on that to discuss how organizations in Malaysia can address that. Now, as I mentioned, now we'll be going into a presentation about the navigating the digital frontier, intelligent integration and automation as catalyst for modernization success. And we have Mr. Honshu Seetoh here, who is the General Manager of Asia at Boomi. I was asked to describe Boomi, and I would say Boomi is like glue. And it's glue for all your systems. And I'll let Honshu explain that a little bit more. But before he comes up, I'll just give you a small introduction to him. He has 3 decades of experience as a business and technology leader. He's had roles spanning the Chief Information Officer, consulting, multinational account management, P&L management, and B2B sales as companies such as Hewlett Packard Enterprise, HPE, Cisco Systems, Abacus International, Capgemini, Deloitte, Fiserv, and Accenture. So I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome Honshu.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction, Stephanie. Really appreciate it. This is really a nice hotel, and I used to live quite close by here in Sungai Way Village. That was, I don't know how many kilometers. I used to come here as a kid with my parents for, I think they have a very nice Sunday brunch. It's going to collapse. Okay. Sorry about that. Right. So I was saying I'd really like to come back here, but as I was driving I now live in Singapore with my family. As I was driving up to KL, I was thinking about over 3.5 hours. What is it that would interest you, and what would make it worth your while listening to me for the next 20-25 minutes? And I must confess, first of all, I am not a logistics subject matter expert. You guys are. As you can tell from my background, I am a technologist, CIO among other jobs, and I've been in the industry quite a long time, doing a lot of work with a lot of companies. But I came away with the impression that you are facing some of the most challenging forces that you're going to face. And I'll show to you why. Personally, your company, your industry. And I hope I can, at the end of the speech, give you some ideas on what you can do to address some of those challenges. So try not to fall asleep, right? So just to give you some context, Boomi is a private equity company. We were sold off by Dell for $4.2 billion. So we are now privately owned, and hopefully one day we will go into an IPO and become a public company. And before Dell, we were 17,000 customers. Now, after about 2 years, we are now 21,000 customers. So on the screen, and I apologize, it's a bit small. I will try to read some of the words later on, is some of the logistics transportation companies. Now, some of the names you can recognize. FedEx, fairly big. Port of Singapore Authority, one of the world's busiest port, is a big customer of ours. And you can probably know more of the names on this list than I know myself. But in short, we are quite big in your industry. So the question you ask is, well, do you have a warehouse management system? No. And I would say, so what relevance do you have? Okay. So let me just then go to the next slide, which is going to talk about, as I said, I was driving up, and fortunately someone was driving, so I had the chance to do a little bit of Googling. And I did a bit of research online on what are the challenges to supply chain globally and in Malaysia. Now, if you can't read it, some of the things you already know: supply chain visibility, demand forecasting, complexity, supply chain fragmentation, congestions at critical ports, probably less so now, increasing transportation and freight costs, very true. Digital transformation and integration, a lot of big words, but what the heck does that mean? Okay, then I type in the research and I say, what about Malaysia? Okay, everything on the left-hand side still apply for Malaysia, and then additionally in Malaysia, labor shortage, inadequate infrastructure, lack of transparency, and compliance issues. Now, again, I am not an industry expert. Where did I get this from? I get it from, guess where? Google, BARD, B-A-R-D. If you haven't tried that out, you need to try that out. This is a competitor to ChatGPT. Oh, what the heck is ChatGPT? If you have been sleeping under a rock for the last 5 years, you should now come out and Google ChatGPT, generative AI. What the heck is generative? You're going to find that out yourself. All right. Then I say, okay, we now know the challenges. Well, at least I now know what you guys are facing. And you can tell me later on whether you agree, disagree, and so on and so forth, right? So then what is the solution? So don't tell me I'm more depressed than I am already. So tell me, where am I going to come out of this? So this is what BARD tells me are the solution. Build strong relationships with suppliers and partners. Kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, it's like in this world of interconnected e-commerce, you have to build strong relationship. Number 2, use technology to improve supply chain. And by the way, you type in this in BARD, they give you a lengthy explanation. If you're not happy, ask them to explain more. BARD will tell you in detail what using technology to improve supply chain visibility is. Use demand forecasting tools. Interesting. Last one is again no-brainer. Invest in digital technologies. What does that mean? All right. Now, BARD to tell you. Now, if you've been following my speech so far in terms of the solution from Google BARD, how many of them are digital in nature, technology in nature? 3 out of 4. Correct? But none of you are in digital IT, I would imagine. Correct? Now, so this is the first reason why you need to pay attention to my little speech. If you are not interested in IT to solve your problem, you are in the wrong place. Okay? Because the answer to your problems lies in technology, and I will explain to you why. You don't believe me, you go and figure out all the industry experts in the world. Technology is totally making your world upside down. And the next slide will be interesting if you don't take its technology seriously. So as I was coming down, I followed up with the newspaper, and this chart came out. And I hope the organizers will give you a copy. So in short, this chart was showing the type of jobs in supply chain management, everything, all right, with the various titles in there. You can, I apologize, it's a bit small, this hotel needs to invest in a better AV system. All right, materials planning, production manager, supply planner, demand planner. These jobs will go away. So roughly 45% of your current jobs is going to be gone in the next 3 years. Is your name one of the titles in there? You should pay attention, okay? Because technology is going to disrupt your job, and it's either going to change or it's going to go away. Now, if you still are not interested why technology is a serious, important component of your personal success, let me then give you to the next example. All right? So, Tesla. I know Tesla is probably not sold in Malaysia. It's sold in Singapore. And my son bought one Tesla. And I was very curious, what the heck is so this great about it? But later on, I researched and I found that they make a car every 43.4 seconds. That's a pretty darn record. You think about it. Now you have Eon Automobile here. You're going to ask them how long does it take to assemble one car. I can guarantee you it's between 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? So how do they do it? Right? Now all this you can find on the internet, by the way. This all comes from Google. And you start to notice a few very interesting things. Now you'll be like, hey, what the heck does that got to do with logistics and supply and material planning? Now, if you don't know anything about manufacturing and all that, it's all got to do with that. If you cannot get a product competitive advantage, you have to use your supply chain efficiency to do that. All right. So how do they do that? So the next slide. And the sound again. I'm gonna press this. Right. Pay attention to the video. This is what is called a fly-through in one of their giga factory, but mega size factory. This one is particularly in Berlin. Now the latest one is in Texas, Austin. It's even more. It's like 5 times bigger than the one in Berlin, and it's even more sophisticated than the one in here. So what do you notice in this drone fly-through? Well, of course, it's big. No question about that. Number 2, see the now amount of robots they are using. Okay, now they are taking automation to the extreme, replacing humans with robots. They have now used robots to make robots to put into the factory, because they don't believe that the robots in the world are good enough for their purpose. Now, that's how crazy Elon Musk, okay, right? So they're inventing it. Then look at the distance between one component of the manufacturing process to the next. You try and guess, you try and measure how fast it is, how close it is, or how far it is. Less than 10 meters. As a matter of fact, Elon Musk say anything that a human takes to walk in 3 minutes is too far. Now, you think about it from your personal perspective. Logistics, supply chain. How do Toyota, how do Eon, how do Nissan assemble cars? Shipping one part to another and often overseas to many countries and eventually assembling it. Elon Musk, no such things. Everything is inside one gigantic factory. Now, this is now totally transforming the way how a car and automobile is being made. All right? So watch Tesla. They're going to be transforming this and other industry, not only in just making cars, but in the way how various technologies are being used. Okay, Mr. Seetoh, this is all very interesting. What has it got to do with me? Okay, or your industry? Now, I learned this in the short period of time just talking to Stephanie and Ramon about your industry. So, again, I apologize, a little bit small. So, in your company, the type of application software you use will be, on the left-hand side, ERP, basically financials, all right? Enterprise resource planning. Now, some of you may have an ERP that has warehouse logistics all in there, but let's say for discussion's sake, it is just financials. Then you have transportation management system, TMS. You have WMS, warehouse management system. And then you have OMS, order management system. And then you have something called CRM, customer relationship management. How do you interface with your customer and how do you interact? And then, of course, you must have something called the data analytics software of whatever kind you have. All right? Okay, big question. Do you know how all this software talks to each other? Anyone? Okay, this is where I learned it today. I learned it from Ramon. It is called swivel chair. It's basically a human sitting in the chair, swiveling from one computer terminal to the next, typing one and then transfer the information to another. Okay? Now you think about it, you can automate all you want about transport management system, but if you have to transfer data and information into a warehouse, human error, slow speed, lack of, we call lack of integration, you're not achieving the automation. Again, think back to Tesla. You are now distancing yourself from one part of the organization with the heart, not achieving the kind of efficiency at the enterprise level. Okay? So this swivel chair is what Boomi does. We will replace the swivel chair with something what we call this problem is what we call the integration choke point. So we have analyzed, we have been in business for more than 10 years, and we have studied a lot of companies and see, why are they good and efficient? And then we realized from an IT perspective, again, remember, I'm not your industry expert, I'm in IT. And we realized that even in IT, it all comes down to a choke point. Okay? How all these technologies are at the point whereby what is the single problem that we can solve that help them? Now, we call this the integration choke point. And this is basically the title of my speech. So what does this problem serve? Now, below the slide are all the words that your IT, your CIO will recognize. Lack of enterprise architecture, lack of enterprise-wide data governance, lack of government systems, lack of in-house skills, so on and so forth. Some of you came and talked to us, hey, do you do process automation? Can you do process re-engineering, all that? Of course, we do, but we don't do it per se. Now, but you think about it, process automation have to do a lot with your IT systems. But what happens if you do not have an end-to-end? So go back to this slide again, and you say that, oh, I want to have from a customer relationship management all the way into transportation management, into warehouse, and eventually into my finance. How can I do that? Well, one way is to hire one of my previous employers, the consultant, and pay them a lot of money. They will do that. Or another way is to make use of technologies like Boomi to give you the capability to use Stephanie words to glue everything together. Okay, now that's where the word comes in. So if we think about it, this is a kind of a good chart to simplify it. So we, in simple IT terms, replace the swivel chair, and we can glue all your various systems technology. Now, do we do warehouse management system? The answer is no. There are a lot of good companies out there to do it. Do we do customer relation management system? The answer is no. We know there are a lot of people go there. But if you talk to your IT colleagues, what are the problems once you buy it? They will say that among other things, it is the whole integration services. So this next slide give you a little bit of details in terms of what the IT platform technologies. Now, if you talk to your colleagues in the IT world, they will tell you the whole trend is around moving to cloud, correct? But moving to cloud give you a one distinct advantage. Number one, besides it reducing your cost of your data center, the advantage of cloud is that most of the cloud software are designed such that they can integrate and talk to another cloud software. All right, and when you do that, people are saying, "Oh, wait a minute! I always talk to this guy in this way. Instead of saying the same thing again and again, can you give me a standard set of tools that will automate that?" Now, this is what we call in the middle, uniform platform services. So we give things like integration. If you're interested in EDI, we are one of the largest EDI software in the world. Data synchronization. So that's one of the problems you will have. This software use Seetoh Honchu because they use last name first. Another software use first name first, Honchu Seetoh. Oh, then you have a problem really. One software don't talk on another software, right? So data synchronization. Now, event-driven architecture is a big bombastic word. Recognize it. But if you are paying attention to some of the changes that's happening, nowadays people don't just talk about integration. They talk about what is called real-time data. Okay, what the heck is real-time data? I have customers now in Asia, in the Philippines and in Thailand. They want to track real-time of where the truck is and the cargo in the truck, real-time. Because they say that if a customer want to divert something to somewhere, they need to know exactly where it is and plot a route to go do that. And in order to do that, you do not have time to call someone in the command center. That's too slow. Okay, they want to have the efficiency, just like Amazon. They can redirect things at the speed of the computer. And now they're doing it automatically. Now, the whole technology around that is called event-driven architecture. If your company are interested in that level of sophistication and competitive advantage, go and talk to us. Right? Then we have API and workflow. Workflow is about robotic process automation. Okay. I apologize. Feel free to ask questions later. I'm just going to go through some of these other slides very quickly. So this is quite interesting, this slide. Now, if you ask yourself, where are you in your automation IT? If you're still using manual, data entry manual, or integrating the system manual, you're way at the bottom left. Okay, that's where you are. Now, in my world, a lot of the software tools that's come out recently have automated a lot of things. Now, in my world, we call them the middleware. I am in the middleware business. Okay, now that is the one that is kind of slightly up. Now, that technology has been now around for 15 years. Okay. Now, the dotted line with the little lightning is where most people say you need to be above that. If you are below that, you are either uncompetitive or someone is going to take over your competition. All right. Now, you then go further up than that, low code, drag and drop. Now, in my terminology, my software doesn't require IT skills. You can do it yourself, and I'll show you why later on. Okay, drag and drop. So you do not need IT skills. The biggest problem in the IT industry right now is lack of skill set. Okay, lack of people who have the right kind of skills. So my industry is all about automating as much as possible, giving you a tool that you don't need a lot of deep programming skills. Now, the next part is interesting. So the next part is about AI and machine learning. You hear all about it. So what is happening in my industry? We are now using the software to train the software to do things that the human don't need to think about. Now, that's what basically AI does, all right? Machine learning does. Now, think about it. If you are still in the manual stage, you are basically a dinosaur. You really have to catch up very fast. But the good news is that you don't go have to step by step. You can jump from manual, go straight into low code or AI. Okay, and trust me, the technology is not very expensive at all. All right, compared with the problems you solve. All right. Now you say, well, is this very expensive and so on and so forth? Well, everything has a cost and a value. Why do you come to this hotel? I'm sure Stephanie and Ramon think that they give you the value. So we make use of a consultant called Forrester. They are independent consultant. They will study companies who have implemented this kind of software and what is the return. 410% return on investment over a 3-year period, reducing the integration time by 65%, $2.3 million savings. I know, why am I showing you this? Because at the end of the day, you have to show your boss, whoever they may be. So why must I do this? Okay, I have someone sitting on the swivel chair to swivel around very well, right? Now, of course, you have to justify the cost of investment. So we help you, give you a framework in order for you to justify the project or what. Now, of course, you can say, don't want, okay, fine, stay at manual and stay but dinosaur at somebody somewhere when they disrupt you with a better way of doing things. Just watch Grab, right? Grab is about to go into the logistic world and some other players, and they have this thing called the super app. making it very easy to connect everything, then you are going to be in trouble, right? When they have that ability to do so. All right, I'm coming to the end. I want to give you a little bit of, all right, so AI. Every seminar I go to, what do you think about AI? No, I'm surprised there's no speaker here who's going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about ESG. Great. Sorry? Oh, okay, good. So, I remember I said right at the beginning that I hope to give you good news. And what does it mean for you? Now, you have been following me so far. You saw that the severe disruption is coming your way. But there's good news, okay? And the good news is actually AI. If you do not know what AI is, go to the Google, go to YouTube, find out what it is. So in short, AI is basically a software that learns from other software. Okay? One more time. It's a software that learns from other software. Learn what? Well, basically learn how to do things better. Okay, we have 22,000 customers worldwide. Those 22,000 customers use about 500,000 types of applications connecting to one another. So we use ChatGPT to be training on those software to do what? Basically, to do the next thing, which I will show you in a video. Okay, now this video is found on YouTube, by the way. You just type boomi.ai, you can read it. Now, and I apologize that it gets small, you can't see it. The part that I want you to pay particular attention is that a few things. Number one is non-technical. Okay, you don't have to know anything technical. Number two, it is normal English language. In the future, there will be Bahasa Indonesia, Bahasa Malaysia, so on and so forth. Okay, that's it's called natural language progression. Number three, now this is an important thing. I don't know whether you noticed that someone was typing in business requirement. Show me the sales report from this region to that region. Show me the how do I onboard a customer. Show me where is the transportation link between this to this warehouse, and which warehouse has the most efficient, or where the choke point is. So the way the technology is advancing so fast is that we now we're going to announce this by the end of the year, by the way. We already announced we're going to demo end of the year. We are now allowing you who are non-IT trained to be able to generate integration, generate processes, deliver new ways of doing things online, automatically using the software tool. Now, so what does it mean to you? Well, if you think that you're one of the person in the chart that I showed you right at the beginning that is going to be disrupted, well, you can easily transform your role marrying two skills. Your current skills now, the industry subject matter, with AI-driven technology into one. So that the future role of the world no longer will be just you are the supply chain expert, planner, and then the IT guy. Is all now coming into one. Okay, which industry will go first? Every industry is racing ahead. Now, one of the biggest casualties actually in the whole AI driven is actually IT, because no longer will we need a lot of software programmers. That's true. No, don't need software programming. We're going to have the software to do the programming for us. Now, your industry, I think, is also ripe for disruption with all this AI-driven work. And with that, thank you very much. And I do not know whether you have time or not, but question and answer.
You have any questions from the floor? You either want to take it up? If we want to put up the Menti,
You're all shocked.
or shocked. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Hope to see you later. I'll be at the back.
right.
Thank you.